Right, welcome to Work the Left Side. I am joined this week by the awesomeness that is Hardman Dan, or HMD. Dude, how's it going?
Mate, it's going really good. I really appreciate being asked to be on. It's a cool little opportunity. I wasn't sure what to say at first because it's like I never know how experienced you want to be before you can accept something like this. But I thought it's a cool opportunity, so why not say yes?
That's it. I mean, I've spoken to people, all across the spectrum. I'm talking to people that have been in. I spoke to a guy called Josh Garler from Wrestle Island a couple of weeks ago. He's been in the biz for like a year. And obviously, I've spoken to Styx, RJ Singh, Haskins, guys that have been in the business over a decade. I just think it's cool to talk to everyone, get a feel of what's out there, get people looking at what you're doing. And just have a chat and just sort of, it's my way of showing appreciation to you guys and what you do. So
definitely, man. Yeah, I think it's really cool. It's not the even before I was asked, I've definitely looked at some of your videos, and I think it's really cool just to, even though obviously I know being in wrestling, I know some things. It's still cool to hear from more experienced people or even lesser experienced people. It's just cool to hear everyone's stories about wrestling. Really, you know what I mean?
Well, I see everybody's got a different journey, aren't they? So, and sometimes you might be able to take something from it, and other times you can just kind of nod your head and be like, yep, been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
Exactly.
So Hardman Dan, dude, you are, most recently saw you against Jack Maxwell at First Pursuit.
Yep.
Banging match. But more recently as well on your socials, we've been bigging up, or people have been bigging up the glow or the grow of Hardman Dan. Dude, a floppy haired youngster.
Yeah, man.
Dude, chiseled, Adonis looking, slightly less floppy hair.
I don't know, mate. I don't know about that. But yeah, no, it's
You're getting there, definitely.
Well, so that first, the picture that was putting, that goes from the first long-haired little child to someone who's not jacked or anything, but looking decent. But I was 15 in that photo, and I'd been training about 6-8 months maybe. And yeah, just wrestling was not a natural thing for me at all. Like, I was not physically gifted as a child. I was always quite big boned, in sports PE, I would always get picked last because, I'm a big kid, but also got the gas tank of Vader at 50, like not the greatest gas tank in the world. But the reason I've been able to not get into the amazing shape that I'm in, but get into better shape than I have been, is just because of purely how much I love wrestling and how much I want this, like, more than anything. Like, I don't necessarily enjoy hard work, to be honest. I don't think anyone really enjoys it. I don't enjoy going to the gym all the time, but I enjoy wrestling. And if you need that for wrestling, if you need anything for wrestling, I'll do it. It doesn't matter how much stress it brings me. It doesn't matter how much hard work it involves. If it's for wrestling, if it brings me closer to the goal that I want, and at the end of the day, the goal that I want is to be wrestling on TV, wrestling in WWE, AEW, on point, Impact. I don't care, as long as I'm on TV and I'm wrestling and I'm showing people what I love to do. If I can get to that, anything I need to do to get to that, I'm happy to do it.
Dude, I don't understand it, dude. You are now looking like what I would call a professional wrestler. So, take that as kudos to you.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
If it's a journey, man, as long as you continue on, then, it's just going to get better and better and better. So, right, well, you talked about getting into wrestling 15 years old. Let's tick the generic box. Let's ask the question, what made you think, I want to do that? I want to take bumps. I want people throw me on my back. I want to get smashed on my head. What made you take the steps through the training room doors?
So a lot of people always talk about the first memory of wrestling, or when they first remember looking at TV and being like, oh, that looks cool, I'll watch more of that. I couldn't tell you. All I can tell you is that I've been watching it forever. Like, obviously, I'm not saying I come out the womb and was like, oh shit, there's Shawn Michaels up there, sick, that's cool. No, but it's like, I don't remember a time where I haven't been a wrestling fan. And I don't remember a time where wrestling hasn't been in my life or I haven't talked about it. And the other thing I can't remember a time is when I haven't said that I'm going to be a wrestler, you know, like I've always said it. I said it as a kid, like, and you know, you get your like friends and family, they're supportive, but they're also, if you hear someone's going to be a wrestler, they're going to be like, yeah, you are. Sure, buddy. Sure. But then you start training and they're like, oh, you're going for it. All right, that's cool. Yeah, you'll get there, you know, you'll actually get there. But then they see it go on for years and years and you're like, oh, wait, you're actually getting there. That's kind of cool. And everyone who's like, anyone in the past who's like, so obviously some people make fun of it, or some people even like not trying to make fun of it, sort of downplay it. Like, you know, it's like, he's working for it, but I don't know if he's going to get it. And then it's so rewarding just seeing that, like, now obviously I've got loads of improvement to do. I can't wait to see what I'm like in 10 years. That's going to be amazing. But like, just to know that I'm at least allowed to go on a show and wrestle, that's insane to me. So I've always, growing up, I've always enjoyed attention. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a theatre kid. You know, I've always enjoyed theatre. I've always enjoyed performing and being creative. And I've always, despite being like a shy kid, I've always enjoyed physicality. And like everything I've just said, that's wrestling. You know, it's physical theatre, and it's so cool. I can't even explain to people why I think it's cool. All I can do is explain how cool it is, and you can see as I'm talking, you can see what my hand's doing. That's pure excitement, mate. Like that's it. I don't usually like, woo. Like I'm just so excited anytime I talk about wrestling. There's nothing else in my life, and there never has been, which is why I thought, like, as a kid, I was 14 years old when I spoke to my mum about actually doing it. I've always said to her that I'll do it, but I was 14 years old when I said, can we actually look for somewhere? And luckily, at the time when I was 14 years old, there was a training school about 20 minutes away from my house in Hull. And it was New Generation Wrestling Training School. I know that Big Hoss Rogan has been here, spoke about it. Jack Maxwell also is trained there as well. So that's where I really got my start at, and I was 14 when I first started. But this might get someone in trouble. You're not supposed to be 14. The only reason that I got through was because I was about the same size as most of the guys at 14. I was luckily pretty tall. I was pretty big. And it wasn't until like half a year, maybe up to a year later, that I was like, oh, by the way, guys, I'm a child. You know, like it took them a while. They saw the braces and was like, oh, this kid's in college. What? It's just a loser in college. And then you see him, it's like, 14. Oh no, that's crazy. So yeah, I got my start pretty young, which is why I'm so lucky to be on shows at such a, like, I'm 20 now. Like at the age that I am now, I'm allowed to be on shows and feel confident in what I do because I started at such a young age, and I'm so thankful for that.
That's it. I mean, yes, I mean, you've got 6 years experience. Also, yeah, NGW, great place to start. Like I said, I've spoken to various people that have started there or been through the doors. So yeah, but from what you're saying before, you know, stuff like this doesn't come naturally. I'm guessing once you did start, it was just hard work, repetition, just drills kind of thing.
Yeah. So yeah, when I first started, it was definitely like on the website for NGW, it said you can pay £10 to come and do your first session, and you can do it without like any prior knowledge, or you can pay $5 to come and watch and see how the session runs. I chose to come and watch just so I can see what it's like and see what I'm getting myself into. And it was in this big sports hall at the Eastmount Centre, right? And you know what sports halls are like? They're just pure echoes and echoes and echoes. And when you got these massive people like Rogan was there, and he's obviously huge, slamming to the back, you can just hear and like, obviously me being a teenager, I'm not used to like loud noise. I'm just sat there like, by the end of the session, I left with like a headache, like a migraine. Like I could, the lights were so bright, and it's like everyone looks like they was sweating, they was gassing out, they could barely breathe. And then I remember that's when Rogan actually first introduced himself to me. He shook my hand and said, "Nice to meet you. I'm Rogan." And I responded to that with, as my shy 14-year-old self, yes. Yes.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. All right. So already I've got a migraine. Everything looks horrible, and I leave being awkward and being a loser. But the next week, I show up because I really want to do it. And then when I first get into the physical side of things, I never even so much as taken part in a football match before. Like I am just this child who's not physical at all, just loves playing games on his Xbox. You know what I mean? But then we start doing the drills, and I remember I get in the ring, and I'd finished. So Nathan Cruz, the trainer at NGW, I'm sure I'll get into saying how good of a trainer he is later, but we did a deck of cards workout, which is like just push-ups, squats, thing. Like I'd never even heard of some of these. I don't know what a burpee was, but after that, he gets me in the ring, and he gets me to do rolls for about 2 minutes. And I leave the ring after doing them and like doing it. Everyone's clapping, like, "Oh, well done, hard work." I throw up on the side of the ring. I throw up on the side of the ring, so someone has to like. They're not going to make the child fix it himself, you know what I mean? But like, they get someone to clean it, and I feel awful, and I just feel embarrassed to be in front of everyone. And I think I finished the session, and then the next week rolls around, and everyone's thinking, well, that's the last of Dion, because shooting him. But again, I turned up because I just really want to do it, and it doesn't matter to me how much it's going to embarrass me, how physically challenging. Jesus Christ, it was horrid, mate. It was disgusting. But I kept doing it, and I kept going, and it's just so much fun. Like I remember taking my first back bump, and I was like, that was fantastic. I loved that. That was so painful, and my back's killing, but that was fantastic. I remember the back bump that's the only thing that felt natural to me, is I took the back bump and I was like, wow, look at that, I'm a wrestler. And then I got to take a front bump and almost break my shins because I don't know what I'm doing. But I remember going there on the way there saying to Mum, it's like, well, because I've watched wrestling, I know the basics, you know. I know what I'm doing. Like I'm not, obviously I don't know how to work a match yet, but I know what I'm doing in terms of bumps and everything. I get that. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know at all what I'm talking about. Like it's like, what was I on about? Like genuinely, I look back to that kid and think, mate, shut your mouth. What are you talking about? So luckily I didn't show up there being like, hey Cruz, it's fine. You don't have to teach me a wrist lock. I know what I'm doing. You know, hey, Cruz, I know you got years of experience. Get away from me, you know. But you really, before you get into wrestling, you have no idea what's going on. You genuinely, like, as much as you can look and you can dissect and put everything in slow motion and think, I know what happened there, until you've took your first bump or you've gone to your first training session, you have no idea. And that's insane. That was mind-blowing to me. Was thinking, like, I've got all of this knowledge to learn and I can't wait. I love learning new things about wrestling. I love learning new ways to get a crowd excited. I love learning new ways for my stuff to look cleaner. It's so much. You can see it in my face. You can see all this. Like, oh, I just love it so much. And if anyone's going to take anything away from me in a conversation, it's that I love it and I want it more than anything. And I want that to be seen by people.
I think it is. I think what you've just said there about, you know, going into it, like, yeah, like if I went to wrestling school, you know, I've watched wrestling for years, I would stupidly think, like, okay, maybe I could do this, or this. But it's thinking that you can do it, but then your body being like, You know, my instinct, if I took a back bump, would just be like putting my arms down. What you're doing is you're learning, you're reprogramming your body how to take falls, which is something you can't do just by watching.
No, absolutely not. I remember it was so I was originally trained by Matt Myers, who ran the beginners courses at NGW. Then eventually I moved on to intermediates with Nathan Cruz, and he stayed as my main trainer for about up until this day. So it was 2018 that started, so about 5 years. But it was Matt Myers and Cruz together who taught me about bumping. And like it is so weird to imagine like standing here, you see them do it, and just they basically say do that, and I was like, all right, and you're like visualizing yourself falling back. I was like, what am I doing? This is weird. What is going on? And then you go to do it, and it's like I said, I loved my first one. Luckily I was loving my first bump, but it was everything. It was the thing that no one talks about how scary they are at first is a flip bump. What you have to, they tell you look at the sky and then flip. But in your head, you're thinking, if I look at the sky, the angle I'm going to do, I'm going to spike myself. And don't get me wrong, we all love a spike bump. They look cool, but no one wants to land on their head. So when you first start, you're looking down and that's close to spiking yourself. And it's not until like about 2 years ago that like I feel really confident with my flip bumps. You know what I mean? Like they are. I hate to say it for anyone who wants to get into it, but they're always scary for a while. You know, like the flip. It's the idea of like it's like your body has to do all of that. You know what I mean? Like back bump scary, front bump clumsy, flip bump never again. That's the way I think about it. And like you're right, it is so weird to tell your body, we're doing this, babe. We're doing this. We're going. We're flipping. We're landing on our back. We're smashing our spine. You know why we're doing it? For fun. Christ.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. That's what I mean. That's what for me it is basically. You guys are just reprogramming everything, common sense, and your body and your brain is telling you not to do. When it comes to bumping, that's why I think it's great as well. When I mean, for yourself and other guys that have gotten a little bit younger. Because when you're a kid, you're fearless. You don't have that fear. You throw yourself around, you jump off stuff, you flip, you do this, that, and the other. If you start training to be a wrestler at a young enough age, you keep that fearlessness to a point kind of where you kind of like, oh, I'll just do it anyway. Like if I went in to do it now, I'd just be like, no, mate, I'm out. Just common sense would not allow me to do it.
Yeah, I think that's really helped me is the fact I started young, because there's some people I've seen like who like sort of scared to take the first, and I completely get it. And like as a kid, I know for a fact I wasn't like instantly like boom, but like when I start going to training every week and I'm bumping every week, it just becomes normal to me. And then obviously growing up with it, because I've gone from 14 to 20, and at least once a week, barring lockdown, I've took a bump. You know what I mean? I'm used to it now. I'm not scared anymore. Like I'm not scared of the big, but like I love like overselling, like Dolph Ziggler stuff. Like I'm not saying I can sell like Dolph Ziggler. No one can sell like Dolph Ziggler. Come on, Ziggler's the GOAT. But like, I love the big stuff. I'd love to go to the top rope and say, "Hey mate, come flip me off it. Come flip it. Come on." I want to go flying. Right. I want to do a swanton off the top. You move out the way and I hit it. You know what I mean? I want you to powerbomb me into thumbtacks. Let's go. You know what I mean? That's fire. Give me a stiff forearm. You know what I mean? Give me a drop kick. I won't get my hands up. Boom. Do it in my jaw. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is. It's because I'm so used to physicality in wrestling now that like the physical side of things, like the actual getting hit part or like whacking something, I'm completely happy with it. The thing that does scare me weirdly is stuff that you'd imagine would scare you, but not in terms of pain. It's stuff like going over the top rope, like jumping yourself over the top rope. That's terrifying. As someone who like used to be like deathly scared of heights, that is terrifying to like throw yourself over and it's like, what is going on? And like now I'm comfortable with it. Going over backwards is like, you know how Kane leaves the ring?
Yeah.
Like flipping over backwards, like that's something you're taught. Unfortunately, you know, like that is terrifying. So it's weird. Yeah, growing up, definitely like the pain side of things. I think I'm just used to it because it's not like if I bump something, obviously adrenaline plays a part, but I feel fine. Sometimes, the morning after is a different story, you know, like, walking up the stairs being like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, pain wise in the moment, growing up at a young age definitely helped me with it.
I think when I was talking to Rogan, I think we had this discussion about adrenaline just being the best painkiller. You know what I mean? If you could bottle that, you just would never feel pain again.
Absolutely. If I could get, like you've just said, if I could bottle up the feeling that I get when I wrestle, I could do it. I could shoulder tackle a car. I don't care. I'd do it easily. I don't care.
Well, obviously, we mentioned Rogan's name's come up a few times. So I had him on a few weeks ago. He was bigging you up. He was talking about, just your awesomeness. You mentioned, he was one of the first guys that you spoke to when you started training. So it does seem to be like a really good, close-knit group of people. Everybody kind of, I think it's, again, you've been around for 6 years. So I don't know if you came in, if it's been like that since you started, or I think it was something for after the Global Bastards, where a lot of people are a lot more supportive of each other since after lockdown kind of thing. But it does seem like everybody's really supportive of everybody now. I don't know if you're sort of finding that when you go on.
So luckily, when I first started, it was already like I instantly felt like there was a lot of supportive people around each other. Like, I know there's definitely places where, like, even I'm guilty of it, where you make jokes to each other and like you got negative joke, you're ribbing each other, being like, oh yeah, mate, that looks awful, you know what I mean? But genuinely though, you can tell how much everyone cares about each other, and I think this is the part where I talk about Rogan for a while because nothing happens without him making me feel so welcome instantly on my first session. Like when he comes up to me and says, "Hi, my name's Rogan," and I say, "Yeah," you know what I mean? Like if that doesn't happen, if the next week he doesn't come up to me, give me a handshake. If the next week after he doesn't come up, give me a handshake. If the next week after he doesn't come up and give me a hug, if none of that happens, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing what I love, because I'd have probably been like, "Yeah, I want to do this. Yeah, I love this. Yeah, I love everything I'm doing." But I was a really shy kid with a lot of anxiety, and anxiety can stop you thinking about your passion. But Rogan didn't like it at all. Like, not only the facts would I not be doing most of the stuff that I'm doing because of how welcome he's made me feel and how like confident he's made me feel, but also most of the opportunities in general like wouldn't have happened if he wasn't bigging me up, or like, because obviously him and Reese have done so much work to get so big on the scene that everyone knows him. He's now made a name for himself, and he uses that name to big up other names like myself, like Jack Maxwell, like anyone. You know what I mean? And he does it. He says he does it because like, oh yeah, other people did it for him, but he's just a selfless guy. He really like, and I hate to say this because this isn't our relationship at all. Our relationship is very much, yeah, mate, you look like shit. You know what I mean? But I couldn't not do this without like mentioning how much he's helped me, and like, mate, even this, like, I can't give too much details about what it is, but even this morning he's messaging me about like trying to help me with another opportunity. It's like, why? I haven't done out, like, I haven't been able to do out for you yet. You know what I mean? Yeah, I make him laugh all the time because I'm really funny, but that's about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's his, in terms of wrestling, he's definitely one of my best mates, and I can't get over, and I can't put over enough how much he's helped me. And again, I hate saying any of this because I know he's just going to look at it and say, "Well, that was pathetic. What was that about?" That was odd. But yeah, ignoring all of that, I think he looks like an idiot, to be honest. I don't really like who he is. I think I'd love to smack him in the face. Yeah, he's got a weird. His beard's weird, isn't it? It looks like a bunch of paper clips that have been spray painted ginger. It's weird. But anyways, moving on from Rogan, I do think I've always seen wrestling as like a supportive sort of group. Like, definitely, I'd say during pandemic was very supportive as well, because obviously everyone knows how tough of a time it is, and like how, oh no, we can't wrestle. We can't do the one thing we love to do. We can't even train to wrestle because there's so much like restrictions and boundaries right now. And like, I didn't make my official debut on shows until after lockdown. Like, but still, even everyone knew I was training, and like people were still supporting and looking down at lockdown. Like, I was awful. I was at my like physically worst. I was at my like heaviest. I was at my floppiest. Yeah, my hair was disgusting. I don't know why anyone let me keep that haircut. Luckily, I got it cut during lockdown. But yeah, I still found everyone was being supportive, like people like Rogan, people like Reese, people like Jack Maxwell. Just everyone was very supportive, and everyone was supportive of each other. And like now, it feels like it sort of brought people closer together. You know, like everyone's sort of like, we lost this once, and now we're making the most of it, and that's so cool to see. Just anytime wrestling can get a bit of booming popularity, even if it's popularity amongst wrestlers, that's cool.
Definitely. Obviously, another name, Jack Maxwell, mentioned earlier. Obviously, most recently, I saw you two guys going at it at Pursuits. Was that like, man? That was like Pursuits' first show. No, there was an awesome atmosphere. There was, it was electric. How did it feel, you and Jack just tearing it up in front of the in the Pursuits facility?
That mate, that crowd was unbelievable. Like, I want to sit here and be like, oh yeah, I'm a heel and a bad guy, and they was booing me. But like, realistically, that crowd was so unbelievable because there's like about 100 people, and I've wrestled in front of more than 100 people, but because it was so intimate, like the facility, the PPW facility, which I'm sure we'll get onto because Jesus, it's so good. But like the amount of people they crammed in there, and it wasn't just the crammed people in there; they crammed passionate people in there, and they cared about everything that we was doing. It was like almost anything we did, they'd get some sort of reaction, and then I feed on that. Like any sort of bite I can get, I'm like, all right, I'm latching onto this. I'm latching onto this, and we can do it. And then like and to do it with Jack as well, because I've known Jack since I started as well. Like he started in NGW, and he don't want to like pull back the curtain or anything, but like he drives me to most places. Like I don't drive myself yet, and he takes me everywhere. Like that is basically my car now. Like Jesus Christ, yeah. But like to do it with him as well, who's someone who's like when I first debuted, I was lucky to get a lot of opportunities pretty early. Jack's different because he's been doing it a lot longer and he's been working a lot longer than I have. And he's just sort of now starting to get the eyes, and it's so cool to see him get those eyes because anyone who's trained with him, it's not like he's been in the background of training. It's like everyone's seen him in training and been like, he's so cool. Look how cool this stuff that he's doing is. Like, look that black shirt, the black glove. No one else is doing that. The tie. Who's getting a tie over? Jack Maxwell. That's it. You know, Jack Maxwell's getting a tie over. Jack Maxwell's cool. Jack Maxwell works. It's such an interesting character. It's so different from any. Like this is what you'll get from everyone. It's different, but not a bad different, a good different, a different that you want to keep watching. I've said this for years. Like I'm big on sports entertainment. I'm big on theatre. Jack Maxwell's facial expressions. Good God, how good are they? Like just with one like little stare, it'll tell you everything. And I'm like, mate, you are like half my size, but I'm terrified of you. Jesus Christ. Okay. But yeah, it's Jack Maxwell's insane. He's so, I want to say underrated, but it looks like everyone's loving him now. Like, mate, I'm sure you've heard of Leon Slater before, right? No, you've not heard of him? Yeah. Yeah, just signed to Impact, Leon Slater. Mate, Leon Slater constantly calls Jack Maxwell the GOAT because he is. He is. Jack Maxwell's so good. And like, you'll notice all the good people see that. Because I feel like I'm just going on a tangent about how good my mates are. But like, yeah, I think Jack's really good, and it's cool to see him getting the opportunities that he's getting and getting the eyes and approval that he's getting.
That's it. Exactly. You know, the dude, like I say, when I spoke to him, I told him I was pretty much the same as you. I was just bigging him up. Like, he's awesome. The character's great. Loving the photos where he just pops up behind people. Just looks sinister as fuck. He's just so like, cool. Yeah, that's one scary dude. But yeah, I noticed, obviously, at the Pursuit show, when the crowd were going at you, man, you was just grabbing on everything. You was just like chomping down on just any response you got. It was just like, yes, you could see it in your face as well, though. You was just proper like, just loving it.
That's it. Yeah, I want people to feel that, like whether I'm a heel, whether I'm a face, I want them to feel that I'm loving this, and like I think that's how I'm able to get like reactions. You know what I mean? Like because there's a lot of people who I completely get being so serious, and I'd love to try being a lot more serious. Like I'm trying to get into a bit more serious side, but I never want to lose the idea that I'm having fun, because if I get rid of that, then I'm getting rid of myself, because that's the reason I'm doing it. It doesn't matter what character I've got. It doesn't matter what I'm telling myself the motivation is. The motivation is it's fun. I'm loving it. So yeah, it's very cool, because someone else has told me before that like you can tell you're having fun out there, and that means so much. Yeah. Because when I see someone being passionate about something, that's what I'm drawn to. So I'm glad it can work for other people as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I think you do. The thing is as well, though, it's a thin line, but you do it really well. It's like I can see that you're having fun, but you're still a twat. You're still a heel kind of thing. You know what I mean? Even though you're having fun, I could be rooting for you.
Yeah.
But you're having fun, but it's like you're having fun just taking the piss out of people.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
That's the heel.
Yeah, I try. So I never want to. I want to have fun, but I never want to take the piss. You know what I mean? I never want to be like taken away from what the story is, because the story is I'm a twat, like you've just said. Like I tend, say if I'm working a bit like a more of a good guy style, I'll show the fun and I'll be a bit cocky, but it's more like I'm having fun and you're all having fun with me. Like as a heel, I try and be more like I'm having fun, I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm having fun because I'm hard. And you know who isn't hard? This guy right here. You know who's not hard? This guy who's getting the best punches in the country. You know what I mean? This guy's not hard. You know what's not hard? You freaks looking at me. You know, that's so much fun to get like any sort of reaction. I don't care if it's a boo. I don't care if it's a cheer. I don't care if it's a. Well, I kind of care if it's a soft man Dan because that pisses me off a little bit. But a reaction's a reaction, and I'm happy with either. I'm happy with anything because just if people are making noise, if I can do something that's going to cause someone to make a physical noise or even make a facial expression or feel anything, that's insane to me, and that's so cool.
Yeah, well, that is what wrestling is at its core basis. It's great storytelling and getting people to react to stuff. And like I said, if you're doing that, you're doing your job, you're doing it well. So we'll talk about the Hard Man Dan character then. Where did that kind of come from? Like, at what point in training did you kind of develop this character, this kind of like, just this, like you said, on his heelish days, this twat who just wants to punch people and have fun doing it?
Yeah, so this was a fun session. So it actually, the character first sort of came to life at about like 5 months into training, maybe. So it's been around since like the idea's been around since 2018. It was we was cutting promos at the end of a session, and I was still this shy kid. Like I knew everyone now, but like I was still really nervous in front of everyone. But how I was there was always different from how I was with my friends. With my friends, I was a lot more talkative. I'm a lot more like, I like to always be the one talking. You know what I mean? Like I love to listen to people, but also you can tell I ramble a lot and I can talk a lot, and like I think I enjoy being heard, to be honest. But so I just thought I'll tap into that a bit, and I live on a council estate. I'm not the chavviest of people, but I definitely witnessed a lot of it. And that's sort of how so I just thought, what's a character I can pick up? Because I didn't have a character, obviously. I was only 5 months into training. So I was like, oh, mate, I'll talk like a chav for it. And I'll be like, yeah, mate, I'll batter you for like, and then I'll batter you for a tenner, mate. Don't worry, I'll knock anyone out, bro. And then I remember I ended it with this line that luckily never made it to shows, but because then I'd never be able to move away from comedy. It was I ended it with, "'Cause I'm Hard Man Dan and I'll suplex your nan," and it's just, oh mate, like it's memorable. It's a funny line, but like, I imagine trying to be this serious character. Imagine I'm like, I'm gonna beat you this Sunday, 'cause I'm Hard Man Dan and I'll suplex your nan. It just, I can't. Nah, like, so yeah, I'm very glad to have moved away from that, but it's a pretty funny story.
I don't know, man. I want to see a suplex and nan t-shirt now.
I want to suplex an hand, to be honest. I'm not sure. I think that'd be fine.
I've just got a fabulous moolah spot. We just need some old OG British female wrestler that
That's
you can
it.
just boss.
Bring anyone. It's Soraya Knight, if you want to come get it. You know? Don't tell her that. She's terrifying.
I would say I would still be very, very scared. Very hardcore woman. But yeah, so obviously the Hard Man Dan. That's another thing. Obviously, speaking about speaking to Jack, Axel, Felicia, Jay Vertigo. Characters seem to be coming back tenfold now into British wrestling, which is awesome. Because as you sort of said, it's theatrics. I mean, it's something just very cool about characters in wrestling. And obviously, Hard Man Dan, another awesome character. Is it something that you kind of work on? Is it a priority when you're in training? Like, you've got to develop this character, you've got to kind of evolve them.
Yeah. So, I'd say definitely, yeah. Because what's always drawn to me to wrestling is characters. Like, it's sad to talk about now, but Bray Wyatt, he was one of my absolute favorites, and it's insane. Like, I can't even comprehend the fact that he's never going to return. Like, I still think, like, sometimes, like, 'cause me and Rogan are both big fans. We'll sometimes message each other and be like, you know, oh, how do you think he's going to return? Or what do you think he's going to do? And then sadly that can't happen anymore. But the Fiend, unbelievable character, like just a spectacle. And like, so I've always appreciated that side of wrestling. Even the more subtle characters like the Viper, Randy Orton, when he was like 2009, when he like shaved the head, slimmed down, and looked like an actual snake. It was like, that's so interesting. The character, like right now, Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, that's an insane character to watch, and like with so much depth. And even on the surface, like not knowing all the family bloodline and stuff, just seeing this guy built like a Greek god with like this Samoan thing around his neck, pointing at the sky, "We the ones," you know what I mean? Like that's characters have always drawn me into wrestling, and so I thought I've always wanted like sort of a big character, and it's so cool to see things going back. Like Axel the Clown's like, I still don't understand what I'm seeing, but I know I like what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? Like you've just had the Music Man on. Music Man is one of the most entertaining people I've ever met. Like I think I'm fairly charismatic. I'll never have the charisma that man has. Unbelievable. Like I don't even think it's planned out. I don't even know if he's aware of it. I think he just, as soon as he put that hat on, he turns into it. It's mad. Like I once saw him like get schoolboy once, and he just turns around and goes, "What the fuck?" Like it was insane. That man's mental, but he's so entertaining because he's a big character. Jack Maxwell, subtlety as well. Like just, so I definitely say I try and think of stuff to do with character. I don't necessarily think of character spots, but I think like, how would Hardman Dan react to this? What would his facial be like at this moment? Like, say someone gets on top of him, like, how am I shot? Like, I try and show, instead of being like, say I'm scared of someone, or like someone's like shocked me, I don't want to be like, what? Oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, I'll try and be like real subtle, because I think Hardman Dan would be like, he won't want to show it because he never wants to look soft, you know what I mean? So it'd be sort of like, all right, okay. And you'll see like a little twitch in his eyes, like, all right, not making me look shit. And then soft lad, if people chanting soft lad Dan, it's like, I'm not though, am I? Come on, fucking hell, calm down. You know, like, I'm always thinking of stuff like that, like little character stuff, little lines that I can say in a promo. Like, I'm sure everyone says it, they'll look at films for it. They'll look at films for lines in a promo. They'll look at films for characters. They'll look at TV shows for even some books. Sometimes, you know, there's so much you can take away from things and manipulate it to work for you. It's so cool. So I'd definitely say I prioritize character at times.
Yeah. That's cool. Like I say, it's definitely coming back, and I think that, like I say, it's just a good thing. It just makes the shows more varied, and I think it helps you guys as well, because it's, if somebody's booking you for a show, they know exactly what they're getting. They're booking you for a reason. They're booking that character for a reason, you know, and hopefully they've got like a vision of where they want it to go within the company, kind of thing. But it's a lot easier to plan for a character.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, there's definitely times where it's like you see a position that you would like to have, but then you have to sit back and think, actually, yeah, I understand why they've gone for someone else, because it's like it's not personal to me as a performer. It's just like someone in a certain position would work better than, say, Hardman Dan type character, you know. Like, and I completely get it. That's why I'm trying to work a bit more towards this. I don't know if I fully want to get rid of Hardman Dan because it's such a memorable name, but I'm trying a bit more for the HMD type thing, you know, because I think one, it sounds pretty cool, and it's just I want to sort of be like, you heard of a guy called The Miz by any chance? Cool. He just how he can adapt to anything. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to, like, if you need a comedy guy, not really my type of wrestling that I enjoy, but I'll do it. You want me to work a British round style match? Sure, can do. But if you want to move to work character, if you want me to be this evil heel, you want me to work a main event. And luckily, early in my career, have been given quite a few main events. Like people like my first singles match was against Leon Slater, of all people. And who knows how to put a main event together better than the kid who was doing a main event like pretty much every night. You know, like I learned a lot straight away from that. I had a main event with Miles Kamen. I had a main event about this was about my 20th match. I managed to get a main event with Ricky Knight Jr. Like, that's the amount I learned from that alone. Just planning with him was unbelievable to me. Like, I've had such lucky like, I know how much hard work I've put in. I know how much like I've worked for this, but it's absolutely luck as well. Like, I'm so lucky to have been in the right place, the right time, to get all those opportunities, to get any opportunities that I've been given, because it's made me able to learn so quickly. Because like, if I had my first main event like 5 years into my career, yeah, I'd be really experienced. But like, if you don't have the experience of a main event, it's a bit different, you know what I mean? So I'm very lucky to have been able to do that so quickly.
You learn by doing, kind of thing. Yeah, I say it was a bit risky having one so early on, but the fact that you had one means that you could learn from it. Because obviously, I presume, again, from outside's perspective, but I presume there is, there's obviously pressure to perform in any sort of the card. But if you're in that main event, that's normally the people's lasting impressions. The first thing they talk about when they leave is the main event. So that's pressure on you guys to deliver and make sure the fans go home happy, kind of thing. So yeah, like I said, but you're only going to get that experience by doing it, and you're only going to feel that pressure by being involved.
Absolutely, yeah. I completely agree. And like I said, with the lucky thing, I'm lucky that all those main events I got to have with really talented people and people who did have the ability to lead me. And I'd love to say that, like, no, I wasn't led, but I was 100% led. I had a main event with this one when I won my first ever title, the Evo Championship. I won it in a main event against Ace Matthews, and that's the reaction that people he's getting now. He's been training for about 10 years. He's only just sort of getting his, like, I'm sort of getting my name out there so early. He's done it for ages. I'm so happy that he has, because he's one of those that you don't realise how good he is until you're in there with him. And I hate saying this because he's a twat, right? And he's got that stupid face that I just want to punch, right? But he's so talented. He's so good, and not ignoring the character stuff, which is unbelievable. And I hate that it makes me laugh, but it does. Just in the ring, he's so good. The way he did certain things in that match, the match wouldn't have been as good as it was without him. I don't know how much I want to pull back the curtain here, but I'm going to do it anyways. When I won the Evo Championship, I wasn't actually told that I was winning it. It was just, I was told that we're going to get to the near the end of the match, and then we'll see who Cruz was doing the sorting out Evo at the time, and he said we'll sort of just see how it goes out there. And I remember I gave Ace a power bomb, and then I gave him a single leg like claymore kick, and I started pinning him. I was like, all right, now I don't know what we're going to next, but I just hear in my ear, "Congratulations, brother." Third slap on the floor. There's a video of it out there. May or may not be tears out my eyes, but it's one of the happiest memories of my life. And it just said, I'm a wrestler now. And that's what? Like, even just saying it now, like, I'm still not the most experienced, but I've had enough to the point where people outside of wrestling go like, oh, you're the wrestler. And I was like, yeah, a bit. But like, still, the idea that I'm a wrestler is like, what? Huh? I'm a wrestler? Huh? What? You mean the same thing that CM Punk does? The same thing that Daniel Bryan does? What? I'm that? Obviously, I'm not where they are, but like, yeah, we're a bit, they're a bit down here, But
yeah,
no, like, yeah, exactly. But no, like, just the idea that I'm at the bottom of this ladder, but I'm on the ladder. That's all that matters. It's like I'm at the bottom of this ladder, climbing my way to where I want to be, but I'm on the ladder. That's insane to me. That's so cool. I can't believe I'm lucky enough to not only get to do it, but be around a good group of people that not only support me but help me get these opportunities. Like Liam Slater, I've been training at PPW a bit more consistently. So obviously Evo's been my like main school. Like, it was new NGW, then lockdown sort of shut that down. then it was Evo, and the only reason I started training at PPW more consistently is purely because I like the way I learn the best is learning from different people. Like I've been down to Future Shop before with Sam Bailey, who's, I don't even need to talk about Sam Bailey, unbelievable. I've gone to seminars with like people like Robbie X, you know, like I want to learn as much as possible. And it's not that there's not much Cruz can teach me anymore, because Cruz, the mindset that he's instilled in all of us is just unbelievable. Like I think I'd still put the hard work in if I didn't have Cruz, but like I wouldn't have the knowledge that I'd have without Cruz, because like his, not only his experience, but it's like his passion as well, how much he cares. He, just hearing him talk about wrestling makes me think, okay, even if it's something that's like not necessarily going to work for me, it'll give me something and it'll turn a cog in my brain that helps me think of it on my own. The amount of things that Cruz has done that with just little words is like, he's, I don't want to put him over too much because he's my trainer, you know what I mean? But like, he is genuinely one of, if not the best performance I've seen in person. Because I don't get, he's so good, but because he's put all this consistent hard work into it, and that's something like I'd do even if I didn't see him do it. But it also helps me know that like, all right, because he's had WWE tryouts, he's got to stages that I want to, and WWE is my ultimate goal. You know, the idea that he can tell me sort of how that system's run at times, you know, it's like, that's so cool. But like I was saying, the only reason I've gone from Evo to more consistently PPW is purely because I've been training with Nathan for about 5 years, and it's not that there's not nothing else can teach me. It's just I just wanted a bit of something different. Exactly, a different perspective was all. And it's not that there's anything wrong with Cruz's perspective, because, like I said, his mindset is unbelievable, and he's the type of person that I like sports entertainment. He's so good at that. So I thought, right, Liam's much more wrestling based, and just. But then the more I see Liam, the more I think it's like he's quickly becoming my top 5 of like favorite wrestlers to watch, because like I didn't realize. You might think of him as like such this technical wrestler, but his sports entertainment level, so his facial expressions, his like character work, the way he talks, it's like his subtlety is like, I've never cared about footwork until I looked at Liam Slater. Now I see his feet and I'm like, how's he doing that? What do you mean? What are you on about? But like, I haven't trained with him very long, but he still helped me so much already. Like Pursuit Pro Wrestling, the first Pursuit show, it was supposed to be Jack Maxwell versus Lou Nixon. As soon as Lou Nixon pulls out, Liam messages me, "Hi mate, how do you feel about wrestling Maxwell?" What do you mean? How do I feel about it? Sick. Come on, let's go. Like, he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to. He's really welcoming as well, and he helps. And like, even before I'd considered him a trainer or like one of my trainers, if I'd sent him a match, he'd always tell me how he thought about it. He'd just watch it because he loves to watch wrestling. He loves to talk about it. So he's someone who's like been unbelievably helpful, especially recently. Like, it's so weird how many perspective wrestling can have, and that's only from like really 2 people so far, like Cruz and Liam, and like there's hundreds, if not thousands, of wrestlers. I can't believe as the more I go on, I'm gonna get to learn from so many more people. That's insane to me. Like, I saw Bobby Roode said something in a podcast once where he said, "You never." This has been said before. I'm not saying it was Robbie Roode. It's Bobby Roode, right? He's changed his name. It's Robert Roode, Bobby Roode, whatever.
Bobby Roode.
Yeah, Bobby Roode. Exactly, Mr. Glorious. He said, "You never stop learning in wrestling," and it's like, if he's saying that at his age, and like I already feel overwhelmed with knowledge right now, I can't wait to see what I'm going to learn in a few years. Like when I get the chance to meet like more wrestlers and more experienced wrestlers, the idea that I get to learn from so many different people is insane to me, and it's so cool. Like, there's nothing I love more than learning about wrestling. In general, don't really care about learning, to be honest. I can't. It's like with anything else, I can't focus unless it's wrestling, because that's where all 100% of my passion and focus is on. That's it. It's like sometimes it's like to a detriment, because like I should be focused on myself at times, but it's like, but I want to watch this match. Look, Daniel Bryan's in a. Bryan Danielson versus Andrade. Okay, can do. You know what I mean? Like I just love learning about wrestling, and I want to be as good as I can, and I can't wait to see what I'm like in 5 years.
Good. That's also, obviously you mentioned Liam Slater. Anybody who watches these shows knows I've spoken to loads of people from Pursuit. I've marked out for Pursuit on a regular basis. But you still kind of keep it in the family because Liam was trained by Nathan, so you're still kind of within that training family. So you're not doing Nathan dirty. You're still being trained by somebody he trains. But yeah, Nathan's awesome. Just sidebar back to that. I've always sort of said he's the most American style worker working in the UK, and that's the biggest compliment I can kind of give, is
Definitely.
that he works perfectly for TV kind of thing, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely, because he was also I don't know if I've said this, but he's also a bit into theatre, or at least he was in like college and stuff. So the theatrical side, you can tell that's what he's into. It's the thing he's so clearly passionate about is storytelling in general. Like, if you hear him talk about matches, he'll always talk about what makes sense and why we're doing stuff. And that's so cool to me, because that's what I like about wrestling, is the storytelling aspect of it. It's, going back to, I said how much I like characters. Characters need a story to exist. They can't exist in a vacuum. They need a story. And Nathan is so good and quick at coming up with stories for these characters, or why two wrestlers, how would they interact? Why would they be fighting? He's so good at that. And yeah, like you said, he's very good for TV. He's had obviously he had some dark matches for WWE. He showed up on an episode of NXT once against Elias. Yeah, and obviously he had the World of Sport Wrestling comeback. And you can just tell he's really passionate about like theatrics and stuff. So yeah, he's definitely very helpful in that aspect.
Definitely. I don't worry too much about bigging him up, because the better you make your trainer sound, the better it makes you sound by default. So big him up occasionally, it's all good. Obviously, you talked about storytelling, which is psychology. I've always kind of wondered, because I know that's something that you would pick up with sort of experience. It's not something you learn from day one. Obviously, you go in to learn the foundations, the basics. At what point do you then start thinking, right, I need because obviously that's a big gripe with a lot of wrestling fans, is they can watch a match and be like, oh, there's no psychology, or it's like a besmirchment of a lot of indie stuff. It's all flips, nobody sells, there's no psychology. At what point did you think, right, okay, I need to start looking into that as well?
Yeah, so I don't know how to talk about this without making it sound like, oh, I know loads about psychology, mate. Right, vet me. Like, oh, look at me. But like, I'm very interested in psychology of wrestling, and it definitely means more to me than like. It's a basic saying, but like, obviously, psychology and moments mean a lot more than moves, and it's easy to say that, but also it's really hard to get out there without like a little clip of you doing a cool move, like, because that's what draws people's attention. But then it's your psychology that keeps them, it keeps the attention. But I think psychology is definitely really important. Like, I've always been into it, like when I first started training, because I wasn't really into like indie style matches. Like, I can appreciate them, and still I appreciate them, and it's so much fun to watch. Where like it's just a car wreck, loads of things happening. Like, I watched recently Will Ospreay versus Leon Slater. That was what is going on. That was unbelievable. So much fun. And while it's not the style of wrestling I do, I can appreciate it, you know what I mean? But with that's different, because that had psychology. And yeah, when I first started, it was like, you get into it and then you get to a point where you think you get it, but then you realize you don't get it. And then even now, there's times where I'm like, I've got it. And then there's other times where I'm like, he's got it way better than I have. Do I get it? Do I not get it? And then your
phone gets it.
You know what? That notification, actually, I will say, was from Ace Matthews. So fuck off, Ace, twat. Right, but yeah. Anyways, you look at people like Samoa Joe, who's like, I don't even like, and Randy Orton as well. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to get to a point where I can have your psychology. It's insane. So yeah, from a young age, like, I think all wrestlers want to be good at psychology, but it is so much more difficult to get it because there's all these different perspectives and so many like different like ideas of what psychology is. So it's lucky that I'm around people like Liam Slater, like Nathan Cruz, like Rogan's psychology is unbelievable. Like there's something that doesn't really, you can't really see enough because obviously he's in this tag team, but his psychology is so good and it's so cool. Just I know I keep saying how cool learning is. I do tend to waffle a bit, but just psychology is so cool and just getting better as you go on in terms of psychology. So I just love it. I love it so much.
Well, again, like I said earlier, wrestling at its core is storytelling. It's good versus evil, bad guy versus good guy, and yeah, the psychology is that. If you said psychology, wrestling psychology, to somebody who wasn't a fan, they want to obviously they want to understand. So you'd have to say the story of the match. That's what it is. But it's that ability to tell a story. But again, something you're going to get, with more and more experience. You can know what you know now, but what you know now is nothing to what you're going to know in 5 years' time.
Exactly, yeah.
What you're going to know in 10 years' time. And obviously, like you said, mentioned Pursuit earlier. I know it's Will Cruz. I can never pronounce his surname. But yeah, Big Will.
Will Cruz, yeah.
Will Cruz, yeah. I don't like saying Cruz. I think Nathan Cruz. I think it's. I'll say Cruz. Somebody just to.
I know what you're saying, mate. Will Cruz. That's it. That's who he is now.
Although they would make an awesome tag team, the Cruz Boys.
That's it, yeah.
That's questionable, though. But yeah, we'll think of another name for them. But yeah, obviously Will Cruz was there. Obviously Nathan Cruz himself has been there a few weeks back. They seem to be pulling in. People. Chris Adonis is going to be there soon. Hardman Dan, can he beat the Master Lock?
Hardman Dan, mate, obviously. Come on, like it's not about beating it. It's about like scratching your nose and it's broken. Oh, nice one. Didn't even notice. Oh, all right, sick, sorted. It's gone. It's gone. If anything, he's blown up after that. He's gone. Boom. No more Chris Masters. Bye. Masterpiece is just a splatter on the wall. See ya. That's how hard Hardman Dan is. But like I don't want to start shoot beef with Chris Masters or anything. So let's move along from this. Yeah.
But that's it. I mean, that's the kind of sort of stuff you just on about, being able to learn from, different people and stuff. I mean, yeah, learning from Chris Masters, that's going to be you just got to sit there like a human sponge, or you and just soak it all in.
Absolutely, yeah. Like any seminar you can get to is just so much because again, it's that perspective thing. It's like a session might not even be run the same way as like I've been to some Robbie X sessions and very helpful, but physically, good Lord, Robbie, breathe, lad. Calm down. What are you doing? Mate, I'm dying here, lad. But it's very helpful. And like the way Robbie structures a lot of sessions is he wants you to keep intensity even when you're tired. And that is so important. And I completely respect it. But I'm also going to complain about how hard it is. Duh, come on. It's so hard. Seriously, Robbie. So how are you not sweating yet, lad? Jesus. But yeah. That's it. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, seminars in general, they're so helpful to have people down. Like I went to a Sam Bailey seminar recently with PPW. Sam Bailey's like, I hate that it never looks like he's trying, but his psychology and footwork and everything he does is unbelievable. It's like, mate, you look like you're taking the piss, but you're so good. I don't get it. But like, yeah, Rampage Brown is a seminar I've been to a few times. It's like, don't need to talk about Rampage. He's just one of the country's best ever, like especially for the style of wrestling I like big meaty strikes and big. Oh mate, don't get me started. He's so good. What are the seminars? I went to, this was when I was really young, so I didn't get to absorb as much information as I'd like to, as I would have now. But I went to a Gabe Kidd seminar when I was younger, and Gabe Kidd obviously turning it up in New Japan right now. He's like so good. So it was very strike based. I remember it being very strike based and like how important strikes are. So I think I subconsciously picked up a lot of things. It's just not things I could tell you right now because of how young I was at the time. I was about 14, 15 when I went to it, but that was a lot of fun. Just seminars are so good for, like I said, perspective and like picking things up and just I don't want to sound like a broken record, but learning about wrestling is so cool, man.
No, sound it away, man. It gets me excited, and I like the way it just comes across. Obviously, anybody who's watching this has got a love for wrestling, so they're going to enjoy the excitement, the enthusiasm, just being genuine about it as well. It just translates. So, just clock the time though. We've just hit the hour mark, dude. That absolutely flew by.
So it's just I talk too much. That's it, mate.
No, dude, absolutely loved every second of it. What have you got coming up? Can you think of anything?
Well, I don't know how much I can say, but there's some opportunities that may be coming up that, if pan out, really cool. So all I will say is keep an eye on the socials, because they'll definitely be announced there.
Keep your eyes peeled, yes. Obviously, I'll do what I can do to spread the word. I'll try and let people know. But yeah, it's been a genuine pleasure, dude. Thank you so much. Plug your socials, dude. Let people know where they can see what's going on.
Yeah, so the socials are on everything, I believe, at it's_hard_man_Dan. Yes. Yeah, that's where you can find all my socials. I post a lot to Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Social media is a big help. So if you can get your eyes on it, if you can, even if it's not liking, sharing, commenting on things, if you're just watching my stuff, I really appreciate it. It's very nice to hear anyone talk about my stuff, comment on my stuff, and just see that people are enjoying my work. It's so much fun, and it's so rewarding.
Dude, well, I think you're going to see it more and more and more often, as it starts to roll. I generally think, dude, you're just like a snowball at the minute. It's just going to start rolling. It's just going to start expanding.
I appreciate that, man.
Everything you're doing just seems to be ticking all the boxes. People are taking notice. And, yeah, dude, genuinely, legitimately, I think, the next 12 months are going to be exciting for you, mate. Seriously.
I really appreciate that, man. That just anytime someone talks like that about me is just... It don't make sense to me, but I really appreciate it.
I'm just the kid who does wrestling.
That's it, mate. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe. Do all the other stuff you normally do after watching a video on YouTube. Obviously, follow us on Twitter or X at WTLS420, Insta, everywhere else as well. And we will see you again very, very soon.